Okay, so now you can see what I'm thinking and looking for when I do my chart analysis. Start from the monthly down to the H1 timeframes drawing your trend lines, right? Pay attention where and how far or how near the price is in regards to those trend lines you draw, meaning the current price where it is at the moment when you're drawing those trend lines. The closer a price nearing a trend line, there is a possible trade setup happening. So especially if it's in the direction of the trend line, it's a very, very powerful. Otherwise, it's gonna be a breakout. If you're in a profitable trade, know where the opposing trend lines are so that you can manage your trades more effectively by moving your stop loss tighter to lock profits, or even take some profits instead of being caught by surprise, right? If in a trade or thinking of jumping in, it also pays to know where the significant horizontal support and resistance levels are on the charts. These levels provides turning points for the market reversals, so don't ignore them. So remember that bigger time frames cover up many good trading opportunities that happen in the lower time frames. Having a good understanding of what is happening on the bigger time frames and then getting into the smaller time frames for trade entries and trade management is part of the strategy to winning consistently. You do not need to draw trend lines every day on the same charts. If a trend line gets intersected and is invalid, that is the only trend line that you remove. So the rest you can leave them, because long-term and medium trend lines will stay on your chart until they get broken, until they're invalid. So I often use the H1 and the H4 timeframes for entries. I switch back and forth between the timeframes, looking for higher probability reversal candlesticks patterns as confirmation to enter a trade. I also go to the smallest time frame possible, like the 5 minute up to the 30 minutes, to enter a trade based on a trend line that I've drawn from the H1 up to the monthly. So why smaller time frame entries? It allows me to get an early head start, and if the market moves in prediction, I will be in more profit than if I took the trade based on the H1 of higher time frame. So as I said, if you're gonna wait for a confirmation of that signal, or maybe a pin, if you're gonna wait for a pin bar on H1 compared to entering a trade based on a pin bar on 15 minutes in the same direction, or a W confirmation on a 15 minute compared to a W formation that is busy forming on the H1, you get an early head start on the 15 minute than what you would on the H1. As long as the direction is the same, you should take those trade on the 15 minute chart or the smaller time frame, as long as it is confirmed and it's near the significant support and resistance levels that you are looking at, that you've drawn on the upper time frame. So some smaller time frames also helps us to minimize risk. So getting in on trades in smaller time frames also allows us to move to have smaller stop loss sizes, so the risk to reward ratio, this way it actually increases. So if my stop loss is smaller, then I may increase my lot size while I still maintain the same level of percentage risk per trade. This is all about position sizing and the risk management. For example, if I trade from the H1 time frame, my stop loss can be 30 pips, $300 that is being risked for one standard lot size, right? And I can trade only one lot. If I go to the 5 minute time frame and get in early, that means my stop loss can be 15 pips instead of the 30, so that's 50%. So this will allow me to take 2 lot size and still keep my risk. This will allow me to double my profits or my positions as well, but at the same time keeping the risk is just $300, which is what I have decided on for that trade. So when the trades move my way, I will make more profits than what I would have made with just one position, right? So it's just clear and straightforward. This is how you keep your risk to reward ratio the same. What's increasing, you increase your profits, but your risk to reward still the same. This is the best example using leverage to your greatest advantage. Okay, so another important thing is where to place your stop loss, so you don't get stopped out frequently. So I mean, if your stop loss is very close to your entry, you will get stopped out many times, and this might lead to your account actually being blown. Getting stopped out can be very frustrating, as if the market knew where your stop loss is. So this is what we call stop loss hunting and other stuff, but frequently it's just because your stop loss is very close to your position, so it will be taken out very much often. So, and guess what happens next? Yes, the market will move in the direction that you predicted, and you have been stopped out, and this is when we re-enter our positions based on emotions. But then at the same time, remember, when you enter a trade and you have been stopped out, remember earlier we talked about where we have our turning points, right? Where our swing points turn into a retracement point before the market moves up. So let's say we're in this trade, right? And then we get stopped out when the market comes back to retest, right? We get stopped out, but then it moves in our direction, and then when you see that you've been stopped out and you enter, and then you see that the market is going in your direction, you enter your market here because you were very, very frustrated, and we call it revenge trading, right? Revenge trading. So you enter a position right there, and then that's when you figure out that you get stopped out again because you just entered, and it's now at the beginning of a reversal. So this is why you must keep your motions intact when it comes to trading, because this is very, very key. When you get stopped out, don't just rush to get in. Make sure that you analyze and you see where your points are, your very, very important points are on the market before you get back in the trade again. So this will be a very big trade. You have the best option will be having to wait for another retest, then you join in on the trade, because if you join in here, you basically be caught in that reversal part, as we explained earlier in the course. It's very key that you notice this when you get stopped out of your trade. So the best place to place your stop loss behind valid support and resistance levels. So it's very, very key to have our support and resistance levels. Your stop loss should be placed in such a way that it gives the market room to breathe in case it comes back to retest that level and gives some spikes, right? So you can have the market comes back to retest, let's say this level right here, but when it comes to retest it might give some spikes, it might just give some spikes, those shadows that we say. So it might come all the way here, so you must give it some room. Some room from that resistance area or support level. Just give it some room to breathe a little bit. So you shouldn't place your stop loss way too tight or too close to a resistance or support level, because this way you are risking being stopped out very frequently or more often, right? Risk to reward ratio. I don't focus too much on risk to reward ratio, because with this system you always find risk to reward above 1:3. So your risk to reward 1:3 simply means a trade will give you 3 times the reward of what you are risking. So if you risk $10, that means your profit target will be $30. So if the system says buy, then you buy. If it says sell, then you sell. You never trade against the system, right? This is the system that we're building up with all these techniques that we're putting together. So don't ask, don't reason, don't question, don't analyze too much, don't overanalyze, don't overtrade. Just do it. Just follow the rules. You've got to have confidence in the system, because if you have doubts, then why do you still use this strategy? Okay, you have to be very confident. That's why we say practice makes perfect, and if you keep on practicing and you understand everything that we've spoken about, how to draw your trend lines, you have valid trend lines, have valid support and resistance levels, you know your candlesticks, know your formation, your patterns, and all those good stuff. So this system is very powerful, guys. This system is very, very powerful. So don't ever forget or ignore multi-time frame analysis. Top-down analysis, very, very key. This is both for drawing trend lines as well as identifying a reversal candlestick patterns, and even identify support and resistance levels. If you can see a reversal candlesticks on the H4, you may spot one on the H1. So the same with drawing trend lines. You will look on the H1 and think there is no setups, but on other time frames you may find that there actually are some profitable setups. So no successful trader only trades one specific time frame. You have to go through all of them. But as we said, we recommend starting from the H1 all the way to the monthly, but you can also look down to as low as 5 minutes to perfect your entry so that you can minimize your risk. I mean, you saw how powerful it is. If you want to risk $10 in a trade and you are on a 1 hour time frame, but if you come back to a 15-minute time frame, you saw that you can actually still risk $10, but then allowing you to have 2 positions instead of just 1. Okay, it's very, very powerful that you use you go from one time frame to another time frame, right, to confirm your orders and be able to take trades, right? So as I explained earlier, there's no need for you to wait for a W confirmation. Let's say you have analyzed your 1 hour. You have analyzed your 1 hour and you are on your 15-minute time frame, right? You are on your 15-minute time frame, and there is a W confirmation on the 15-minute time frame. But then here you are waiting for maybe it's a pin bar for you to close so that you can enter the trade. But as I said, remember, 15-minute time frame. That means those 4 candlesticks that are forming here, forming the W or completing the second leg of a W, are maybe what are forming this pin bar candlestick, right? One pin bar candlestick on the 1 hour. So it is very, very advisable to enter during this 15-minute candlestick that is happening. Once you see that it's a W formation and the overall trend is going to go up, as it has been confirmed on your 1 hour chart. So that's what we mean by being able to capture these trades on a smaller time frame, so that you can actually enter more positions in the same trade whilst risking the same amount of money on those trades. So it's very, very powerful, making use of different time frames to enter in your trades. I cannot stress this enough, but because it's very, very important, very, very, very important.